What's going on?
ComicCorpsie here with me, and this is the first, hopefully, of many live chats where we're just going to be having different topics, maybe monthly, depends on how many people want to do it. And for this first episode, Mr. ComicCorpsie, we're going to be talking about how we got into comics. Yes?
Yes, we are. That is, I think it's a good intro point for us. Since
All
I
right,
guess I haven't really told my story, and I don't know your story, so...
Like I was saying, my story is really not that interesting. I'm more interested in the other YouTuber stories. That's one of the reasons why I like YouTube, actually, is learning about the other people who have a lot more history than me with comics.
It's a good community. I'm discovering it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice, but I guess I'll tell mine. I guess
I'll start with.
No, I'll start with mine, and I mean yours may lead me into more things also, though. So
Mine's going to be a letdown, I'm sure. So that's probably why we should start with mine, actually. Crescendo in yours.
Well, fine, be that way.
Yes. Seriously, this is as simple as my story of how I got into comics, and I haven't heard anybody else tell this story, so I feel like I'm the only lame one who got into comics this way. Was the Marvel trading cards of the '90s? Do you even remember those?
I remember those. I still have a bunch of those. I still
You do?
have unopened packs of those, yeah.
I mean, my mom just freaking dumped those, and they were worth nothing, but that was what got me into, like, Wolverine, Silver Surfer, I remember the Mandarin, and X-Men. It was all about X-Men, dude.
Yeah. Are you talking about the early '90s trading cards?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was collecting like the full sets of everything. I had every card. I remember I had it like all perfectly organized in the binders and everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't really. It's weird because when I was a kid, I wasn't really into reading comics themselves. Just kind of lame. I remember thinking going into. I still go to the same comic shop sometimes that I went to as a kid. And I remember going into that comic shop thinking, man, I don't want to read. Why would I buy something that involves me having to read? I was that like stubborn because my parents kind of were very big on education when I was a kid, and so reading was just associated with work for me. So why would I spend money or spend any of my relaxing time or whatever time trying to have fun reading? It was about as far as I ever thought into it. And so that's why I like the cards, because there was just like a half paragraph that you had to read on the back, and you knew everything you needed to know.
Yeah.
You had a picture on the front.
Yeah, and you had artwork on the front.
There you go. There you go. And then the movies over the years, of course, kept me interested. And then, one day I just had some time to kill, and I went into my local comic book shop, which I didn't even realize was a comic book shop. I just thought it was a game shop. And I saw some of the artwork that they had on those trading cards. It's not the same as the covers, the iconic covers, but you can definitely see the resemblance.
Yeah, definitely.
It was especially like Silver Surfer and Galactus, those ones especially. And I didn't buy it that day, but I remember seeing they had an FF48, 49, and 50. Mm-hmm. And it just the possibility of getting those books at that point seemed so like unobtainable to me.
Yeah.
They just seemed so fun to look at. And I remember I got like some FF books, a lot of X-Men books.
Uh-huh.
And way overpaid. Way overpaid. I'm talking like, with what I know now, I probably paid about twice, some books even 3 times as much.
Oh my God.
For those same books. I didn't spend more than I spent probably I don't know, I want to say maybe like $100, something like that.
Okay.
But I got only Silver Age stuff because it looked so cool to me, and I haven't been able to get off the Silver Age since. And then, once I started actually reading the books, X-Men's awesome. I love any of the family teams, but FF, as you know, is really what it's all about, man. In terms of, if you get into the history of the creators and the companies, nothing beats Fantastic Four if you're a Marvel fan. And just the quality of it. I mean, it's the best writing, and you got Kirby and Lee doing their thing from the beginning, yes?
Very, very creative time period for Lee and Kirby. And most people don't know that quite a bit of the Marvel Universe came out of that. The universe, not the Marvel Universe, but the universe inside of Marvel. I guess is probably the way I should put it.
Even universes inside of universes and negative zones inside.
Very nice. Very nice. Very true.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's pretty much the end of the story for me as far as things that are interesting. Otherwise, it's just more modern stuff with me getting more into doing the research on what books are actually worth, trying to find little holes here and there to get some of the books that I like. I'm really into Tales of Suspense, Tales to Astonish,
Two of
Strange
my
Tales.
favorites.
Those 3 runs.
Yeah, 3 of my favorites actually.
Freaking, even it's one of the few runs where, to me, the later books are almost just as desirable. Definitely not as expensive, but almost as desirable as the early runs of the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got I showed the Tales to Astonish one, I think, that I got in a video, but I also got Tales of Suspense, kind of similar to a lot, like 10 or 15 of them, and they are just freaking, they're so worth, comparatively for what the others go for, they are so worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, that those 2 books tie into my story also. So.
Well, I think
they really do.
If we have time for the second part, we can maybe talk about what still drives us back to comics. But let's give
yeah, for sure.
Pass over the mic to the corpse.
Pass over
let's
here.
hear your origin story of collecting.
I mean, a lot of it goes back. I mean, I can remember being, growing up in Maryland. And I can remember when I was real little, it's like every now and then my dad would come home with a book from the store. I was little. I was maybe 4, possibly 5. The funny animal kind of books.
Yeah.
Nothing like Special, the Harvey stuff like that. They were cool when you were a kid. You read them to death.
You still have
I don't think I was just about to say I don't think I still have any of those.
I see those come up at auction all the time. They're not that. If you wanted them, they are available.
Yes, oh, they definitely are. They definitely are. I would only be able to recognize them by cover.
Yeah.
But it was about 76, I think. That sounds about right. I'm thinking here, guys. This is taking me back a lot of years. But I can remember the first 2 books I bought with my own money. I bought a Marvel 2-in-1. I want to say it was like number 13. It had a big green monster on it. I do still have that book. And an Iron Fist number 2. I do still have that book too, as a matter of fact. But reading those stories took me into a different place, a different area. And that's kind of where it started. I mean, it was because all of a sudden I was learning you could tell all these diverse type stories and see all these fantasy worlds and even factual worlds too, like Classical Illustrated. That's, shouldn't say factual, but more based in reality.
That was my dad's comic book series growing up. It was Classics Illustrated. And I got him one for Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Freaking nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd too, but he takes it to a new level. Can you imagine as a kid choosing, with all the Silver Age options, choosing Classics Illustrated off the rack? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, continue. Yeah.
No, you're all good. I'm just thinking back. I had one Classics Illustrated. I think my mom got me that one at one point for Christmas or birthday or something. I'm like, it's kind of cool, but it didn't interest me, Yeah, but anyway, got those first couple, and I mean, I read them to death, man. They are beat up and hurting.
Yeah.
I read the snot out of those. And fast forward to 79. Dad takes a new job. We move out here to Denver. We get out here, same thing. Here's a little history lesson for all the kids and the younger generation that didn't see these. The spinner racks in grocery stores, where they had the comics. Grocery stores.
I never saw those.
Yeah, well, you
kids, you clown.
Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't see some of this stuff. It's they had spinner racks in grocery stores and spinner racks in like convenience stores and gas stations, and that's where you'll see like a lot of the newsstand stuff and some of those older books with a lot of the damage on the spine up on the top third of the book, quarter of the book. Yeah, that's where that came from, was spinner racks. But I can remember once we got out here, I was a little bit older. I was working a little bit more, mowing yards, just doing odd stuff like that.
When did comic book stores, stores that only specialize in comics didn't start until right around then, right? Like mid-70s?
Yeah, it was in the 70s sometime. I don't know my whole history on that. So, yes, my bad, people.
You're supposed to be our ancient sage.
Yeah, I'm not super ancient on that. I'm not super ancient.
You're supposed to be our
Uh,
ancient sage.
yeah, I'm not super ancient on that. I'm not super ancient on that. But getting stuff at the grocery store, a lot of it was like Micronauts and Transformers and Star Wars, naturally.
Yeah.
Die hard Star Wars head. And flipping through them, I started seeing these big, huge, either double-page ads or the full single-page ad of these back issues of comics. And you'd look through it and be like, oh my God, you could actually get older issues of comics? Because I didn't know. I had no clue. As a kid, you didn't know.
Yeah.
But you start seeing that, and finally I kind of read the ad a little more in-depth one day, and it was Mile High's old ad, Mile High Comics' old ad in there. And I can remember one day I know my parents were going downtown, so I'm like, okay, we got to go down Broadway. And 308 South Broadway store, still a great store. I could talk about that store for weeks and years. Great store.
Plug.
Oh, no, it's been closed many years. Oh, yeah, many, many years.
Never mind.
Many years. Talked him into stopping there on the way back, and me and a friend went in there, and it was crazy. You walked in the first section, the first door. It was like 3 strip mall type shops, and they had 3 of them all connected. And first when you go in, the counter was there. A lot of the old back issue stuff was in that room. Next room over was the new issues. And some of the newer stuff. I don't think there were trade paperbacks back then. In fact, I'm pretty sure there wasn't. And then in the third room was like used books, which was crazy, cool at the same time, because a lot of it was like sci-fi, fantasy type stuff, and random other things naturally.
Yeah, well, I mean, many of us like comics like sci-fi, right?
Yeah, like sci-fi and fantasy. I can remember in that third section, the book section, they had a Star Wars 6-sheet poster in there. Had a big giant "not for sale" on it. They're like, nope, we're tired of being asked. But that was pretty much where I really, really and truly got hooked into the art of collecting them and enjoying the medium and art form. But we spent a couple of trips down there, and then lo and behold, I found a shop that was closer in a mall that is also now gone. Before you say plug. Dimensional Travelers Comics, man. Wes was a great guy. He was
I'm moving to the side of the screen here, but I'm still here, obviously.
Okay, yeah, you're all good. Okay, he's gonna disappear, guys. And no, Wes was a great guy. He was more than willing to talk to the kids and the older people. Like, they had some great stuff in that store, like tons and tons of books. But that's kind of where I really got into Avengers and X-Men. My first true good run was Avengers. I had pretty close to 1 through the Neil Adams run.
See, I don't know about the Avengers. I'm stubborn about the Avengers. They're one of the original Marvel teams, so it's hard to say no. But I always feel like the thing about the Avengers for me is they changed members so often throughout the season.
Oh yeah, every issue there's a new member.
Yeah, and it was hard for me to really get attached to them as like a group, like you do with the FF and X-Men.
Well, my joke about the Avengers now is who's been in the Avengers? Well, everybody in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, right. This is true.
I mean, I do like my Avengers. I think it's good. I like certain teams better than I do others. But, that was just kind of the thing that got me at that point, and then the X-Men, it was all the new X-Men run.
Yeah.
Had a huge run of that. Tales of Suspense, love old Tales of Suspense, old Tales to Astonish.
Yeah.
Still love those two.
Yeah.
But anyway, going down there, I spent a lot of money to put a good set together. I mean, it was probably only about 600 or 700 books, but you figure that's basically Avengers, pretty close to 1 through 96.
Crazy.
Yeah. Listen to some of the other ones.
You're on a different level with me, I'll admit.
But back then though, you were paying like almost nothing for everything. Like my Tales of Suspense 39. That's unfortunately lost to everybody now. It was a very fine near mint copy. We'll get into that part of the story here in a minute.
Lost to everybody.
Oh yeah, it's gone. I'll tell that part of the story in a minute.
Spoiler alert.
But it was $160 $65. It was a very fun. It would have graded out easily a 9.0. And I could remember working all summer for that book, all summer. And, you know, my birthday falls on the end of summer, and I was a little bit short, so that was part of my birthday present. It was an extra $20-25 to get that. Oh, this copy was beautiful. It makes me sick.
Jealousy is getting in the way of everything for me right now. I should be congratulating you on your amazing purchase. Although the fact that you lost it, can we get to that? How the hell that happened?
I will get to that here in a second, because anyway, in about 1987, that sounds right, I was 16. It was when I was late 16, I sold my collection, and it paid for my first car.
Whoa.
Now, we're not talking a new car. You know, when you're a kid in high school and you can pick up, you got to remember, too, this was the 80s, you know, the later 80s, and you could pick up a decent used car for $500-600.
Yeah.
You know, so I was sporting it. I wasn't driving mom and dad's car. I was driving my own car. So there's not many guys in high school that could say that. You know?
All right, get to this TOS story. I've got to know.
Okay, all right. So I'll get to the TOS story.
The viewers want to know too. They probably are fast forwarding already.
Yeah, they probably are. So I sold the collection off. I kept 6 issues out of it. I kept the Avengers #1. That was just a VG, solid VG. I replaced that one. It looks almost identical, as a matter of fact. I kept the Tales of Suspense 39, naturally. And I kept Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1-4 first prints. Not high grade. They were pretty beat up because there weren't many of them, you know, back in that day. But kept all of those. A couple of years later, I was still in high school. I can't remember the exact year now. Still in high school, but my grandfather died. And we went up to Minnesota to his burial, you know, naturally. And while we were gone, somebody broke in the house, stole all the jewelry, all of my dad's guns, and those books right there, and a few, like, proof set coins that I had. No big deal on those.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, they got caught about 2 months later trying to pawn one of my dad's guns off, because he was very meticulous about the serial numbers, which you should be. You know, I'm very meticulous about the weapons I have, too.
Yeah.
But they got those 4 things. Actually, and they got a Cerebus, I believe it was the first phone book one they put out, because I got that in mail order. That one's no big deal to me. But it's those 6 books that are just kill me. And they never turned up when they found everything. They found some of the jewelry. They pawned some of that. They found all the weapons, naturally, because you can't pawn those. And they were stupid enough they didn't know. So yeah, that's where that stuff went. They never recovered that, and yeah, they're gone forever. And it makes me sad. And I look every time I see a high grade TOS 39 up for sale. I look at it because it had one thing on it that was a very distinguishable mark. So I look for that all the time. I know the book is gone though. I know they didn't give a crap about it. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as it happened, as soon as we got back in town, I went to one of my LCS guys and talked to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, let me talk to everybody in town, you know, and make sure that they know if a high grade 2S39 comes in, to probably call the police on it and make sure, because he knew too, because my local guy had seen it.
Yeah.
And he knew the specific small minor problem with it. So yeah, that's where that stuff went. But anyway, that got stolen, and it's like that kind of reinvigorated me a little bit, I guess. I don't know. It piqued my interest again. I guess I was over the teen testosterone phase, to put it mildly.
Nice. Yeah. Do you want to tell them about anything? I don't know if I should even say something that you told me that has to do with testosterone in your history.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that point here in a minute.
Cool.
Because now we're getting to the 90s when I started collecting again.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We're definitely going to get to that.
Awesome.
There's some stories I'm not going to share with you or probably anybody because they're not good stories. The dark times, so to speak.
I would hope so. Mystery.
But you know, it kind of piqued my interest, and I went back in, and I did go back into the 308 South Broadway, the Mile High store. By that point, Dimensional Travelers was gone, unfortunately. And I went into, you know, the guy that's still a good friend of mine, that's right up the street, into there. But I was trying to figure out, you know, what should I collect? Because I had done Tales of Spoons, Tales to Astonish, uh, Avengers, X-Men. It's like, what should I, you know, what should I collect? I kept thinking and kept thinking. I was like, maybe I should do some Journey into Mystery. I had a few of those, not many, but out here at the time, Journey into Mystery, the early stuff was impossible to find. You just didn't find it out here, and so I settled on Fantastic Four, bought a couple of early issues, bought some of the
What a
John.
horrible story about how you got into such a great comic. I was expecting so much more from you. Oh my God.
I had really been into it. I still have my original copy of 199.
Yeah, it was like a reluctant, oh, I guess I'll get into this one now.
It was more kind of, I'll get into this one, but I bought a couple of early ones, and I bought a few issues from the Byrne run. And
Can we just quickly,
the stories,
for those who don't know, can you just quickly give people an idea of the caliber of the FF run that you had, if you want to?
I definitely will. If you want to look me up on the registry, it is under Corpse. That's where my sets are. I'm very high ranked in all of them. I'm number one. I'm number one in the Byrne run. I'm number 3 in the Complete with Variants. At least that are ranked, because now if you obscure your set, you cannot be considered for a rank, which I respect CGC for doing that. I'm like 8 and 12 respectively in the other two, so I'm up there in the upper area.
Yeah. Your Silver Age is what has always attracted me, but I didn't realize that you had that for the Byrne run. That's a nice little addition to throw in there.
Yeah, it's a good set. I mean, all the sets kind of, I mean, in fact, all the books cross over with the exception of a few into all the sets, which I'm fine with. You know, I just like to have them on there. But still, that's a lot of stuff to put together.
Anyways, back to your story. Sorry.
Yeah, back to my story, but I fell in love with them even more. I mean, you got to figure 190. Yeah, it was 199. I'm pretty sure it was 199. It just, the stories at that time weren't that good. So, you know, as I was younger, it didn't attract me as much. You know, and I had some random issues, you know, when I was collecting on that first set. But I kind of dove back in with that, and I dove into the whole, all of a sudden it's the 90s, the whole big fad thing with billions of print run and the whole 9 yards, and 87,000 different covers and all the gimmicks they put on it, which screwed the industry, which is what the industry is coming to now. That's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, let's save on that. We
will save on that.
The industry now. That's gonna have to be a whole video.
Yeah, we will save on that. But I really kind of honed what I wanted to do, and I was more specific about what I wanted to collect. I was like, I'm going to stick with Fantastic Four. I'm going to do as much as I can on that. Cerebus, which is a book I had loved since the early 80s also. Very, very well-written book. But they weren't expensive. They weren't brutal. And there weren't that many of them at the time. There was only 110 or 15 at the time, so not that hard to get them.
Yeah.
And what else? And my big thing is that little circular price stamp on the books themselves. Those are the ones I want to get out of Marvel, which is kind of brutal because the ones that have that are the early Journey into Mysteries, the early Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense 39 and 40, the first Fantastic Four.
Price stamp, just the 12-cent circle stamp.
Yeah, the 12-cent, 10-cent circular price tag.
Oh, but you want specifically the ones that have circles?
For some reason, I love that, man. My dealer laughs at me all the time.
I don't think you're alone, actually. I've heard that from other people.
No, I've heard it from a few other people. I think they're cool. I think they're different. I think they're unique. That's just me.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning when I posted some video, I can't remember what it was, but it was like the first week after I posted my first video, so I was like checking to see what people were commenting, and some guy, I remember being like offended, because I'd shown these great key books, and the first comment I got on that video, and it was the only one for like the first week, was, "Wow, I love the circle on that price stamp on all the covers." And I was just like, really?
It's really strange though. It's a lot of people like that because after that they switched to the little the character up in the top corner,
Yeah.
top left hand corner. It changed. It was different. I mean, those early books, and they were special. It was a very experimental time for those guys, and I'm sure it was a very nervous and scary time for them. They're trying to do something new. I mean, the monster stuff was quasi working for them. Now they're jumping back into the superheroes.
Yeah.
Pretty scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I refined what I was collecting though, and I did that pretty regularly till about '93. It sounds about right. And there was just too many gimmicks going on, in the books. So I kind of shied off, as well as other reasons during this period, but gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
A couple of years later, though, I had the opportunity when I was wrestling. I would go onto the road. Yes, professional wrestling people. I would go on the road, indie shows, and I'd be in different towns all over the states.
Yeah.
And I would be able to, when I take the road trips, I would pick up, I'd see what the local shops had. That's something good. I would try and pick up something Fantastic Four, like something high grade, like DC high grade is something I really like right now. It's something else I've kind of put into what I like high grade DC Silver Age. They're not as easy to find as Marvel is, so I think they're very undervalued. Good stories too, goofy stories, but good.
Yeah.
Did that, and then about the turn of the century, I kind of made my permanent home back here in Denver, and started kind of collecting a little bit full time. I started seeing eBay too in the early days, and I made the mistake. I know a lot of people will make. They will overbid on things. They want it. I'm a person now. I follow the market. I look at the markets. I put a price in my head that I want to pay for a certain book, and that's as high as I'll bid, and I'll just go ahead and bid that as the maximum bid right away and be done with it.
Yeah. Actually,
not have to worry about it.
On that same point, I've started doing something that I think is really good. I have instead of trying to reach targets for I'll set a certain number that I'm willing to pay for a book, but what I'll also do is I'll make sure that I'm only winning on, at most, 20% of the books that I've bid on.
Yeah, that for sure. I mean, if you win a couple of books that are basically at the top of your budget, I don't bid on anything else after that, But I have certain books. It's like I may not win this, I may not win this, I may not win this, but I have backup alternatives down the list.
What that does is, sorry to jump in. What it does for me is it changes the number that I come up with in my head, because the number that I'm coming up with isn't what do I think I'll have to pay to get this book. It's what do I think I'll have to pay to have a 20% chance of winning this book, right? And that number is always much lower. And it's such it's a stupid little trick I play on myself, but it keeps me in line.
It'll work for you, trust me. It'll keep you from screwing up and paying too much, It's like there's a lot of books I've gotten lucky with. Yeah, this is kind of going into some of the market strategy stuff I think of, It's like,
let's get back to your story here, because I think we're going to end the video once you wrap up your story.
Yeah, I think we should be probably pretty close. But I started getting back in the early 2000s when books were super cheap again, guys. They were brutally cheap. I would love to tell why I would love to tell you some of the stuff I paid even at the turn of the century for some of the books I have. I'm not gonna, that are going for thousands of dollars now. Out of nowhere. It's like, good God, man. It's like, and I know why this happens. We'll talk about this in a future video for sure. Is kind of what happens to the market with what's going on right now. I mean, it's a whole feel of the early 90s. So. But I just refined it, and that's what I do now. That's why I don't do haul videos, guys. That's why I don't. You're not going to see tons of update videos with good books. Is I take my time. I'm very picky. I want certain things in my collection. I want higher grade stuff, and that's another thing. Is like the '60s stuff, the early Silver Age stuff. That is a non-replenishable resource. That stuff is gone forever. Period. There's going to be no more just coming in and saying hello out of anywhere. There may be a couple of more pedigree collections they discover, but really, for the most part, demand is just crushing supply. And I want the higher grade stuff, but I also want it archived. I want it CGC'd, I want it slabbed.
Yeah,
I want it archived and set aside. Huh?
You and I are the exact opposite that way. I love not low grade, but low to mid grade raw books because I just love flipping through them, man. I love reading them.
Oh yeah, I do too. I do too. Do not get me wrong. I had a complete Lee Kirby set raw before I started doing slabs. I hated CGC when it first came out.
Is it the kind of thing I've noticed that kind of people get into the higher grades later on in their collecting a lot of the time? Maybe it's just the natural progression, huh?
I think kind of it is a natural progression. I mean, it got to the point. I mean, I always wanted, because I ended up with like I said, a complete Lee Kirby run with the exception of a couple of the annuals.
Yeah, stop saying that. God damn it.
Many years ago, though, I ended up with that. But I've been kind of selling a lot of them off to get the really, really high grade stuff, and just not mess around with it.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I want to play games with some of this other stuff? And have these books that are worth a little bit. They're worth something, and I love them. I love to read them, but I can get them now in reprints. I've already flipped through them. I've already read them in real life. It's like I'll just upgrade it to something high grade and archive it away. And this is a terrible term to use, quote unquote, pass my other ones on to people who actually give a crap, though. They care about the series. I'm pretty picky about who I sell the books to. Yeah, I mean, I'll actually have some more coming up very soon.
I love the stories, man. Stories are so... That's up for a whole other topic.
Yeah, but the stories are amazing. I mean, what other medium, I touched on it earlier, what other medium can you tell any story you want that relates to children all the way through adults to old people?
You know what I call comics? Science fiction porno. Are you picking up what I'm laying down there?
I am picking up what you're laying down.
I mean, you can. Where else do you find in 20 pages of a picture book that you get like 3 plot twists on average per book? You're going to have amazing artwork that's just basically instant gratification when you see it.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I call it more of literary artistic porno.
That sounds a little bit more respectable. We'll go with that.
Yeah, but I definitely know exactly where you're coming from, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. As soon as you said it, I'm like, yep, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my story, and that's kind of where I'm at with what I'm collecting, and that's why nobody's really gonna see any like update videos all the time or haul videos. I don't do a whole lot of haul videos anymore. Well, I never did. But I don't go out and I don't do hauls. I don't. I'm very specific with it. I got probably 5,000 books right now. About that. Some of them are worth something. Some of them aren't.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I'm at the point where I might do some giveaway contests on a lot of it.
We could probably just spark some interest there. Anybody's still watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff people are interested in, and I still like that. It never panned out investment-wise, and the problem with that is because there were 80 billion copies printed of that one issue, and now I have a stack. Nice.
Yeah.
That haven't been opened since I brought them home and put them in the bag of the boards.
Crazy.
Yeah. Hey, is what it is. Maybe that'll help me out later.
Yeah. Nice positive end of the video there.
Yeah, maybe that'll help me out later. It's like, otherwise I've got all this stuff here. At least I'm not going to be like one of these people that just throws it to the curb.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. I think we've all seen it in videos on YouTube. You don't just throw it to the curb, man. I mean, try and get something out of it.
Somebody was telling me a crazy story. I forget who it was. I forget who it is, but I think he usually watches videos, so he'll probably see this. He was telling me about how he got his entire X-Men run off of one purchase that he made from a dealer who I think was like his friend or something, and the dealer bought the books from some desperate guy who came in with full Silver Age, I think all the way up to like maybe 100, 150, somewhere around there, X-Men run, all in great shape, and he sold it to him for $200.
Yeah.
which is not that long ago.
Yeah.
Just like
Not surprising. I just had probably 3 years ago my dealer. I went in, talked to him. I'm not going to mention names because I consider him a friend, and yes, he can be an asshole, so that's why I'm not going to mention his name. But I know how to deal with him.
Oh wait, you know who I'm talking about?
No, 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 no. I
Oh,
went in and a collection was brought into him, basically a full run of Spider-Man, with the exception of Amazing Fantasy 15.
wow.
And all the guy was interested in buying, my dealer wanted to buy, was Spider-Man 1 and 2, and the guy's like, nope, everything or nothing.
Yeah.
Which I understand that. I respect that. I'm fine with that. And so Sean just let him go out the door. So, God, I mentioned his name.
Wow.
Nah, no big deal. Let him go out the door, and I really wanted it. I was like, you need to call me. I was like, I would have bought it. I would have bought it all. I would have taken the number one. I was like, we could have kind of figured out a way to split up the rest of it. You know? So you got something out of it, and I got something out of it.
Man, what if?
Yeah, it is what it is, man, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, he wasn't sure. He's still not sure about me, so. He's a friend, but he's still not sure about me.
All right, then. I think I'm going to stop the video.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up.
I think you and I will probably still keep talking, but I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep chatting, but yeah.
To anybody who actually watched us this far, thank you very much. Hope you like the idea for the new format. Not new, actually. I don't know who else does this. I know ETA Nick does this, but I don't see I don't see a lot of live chats. I know you and I both think that there should be more of them, so maybe this will start a little brush fire. I doubt it. But
yeah, I think there should be a little bit more of this going on, or at least those of us getting in here and one person having it up there and putting it on their channel and getting it out there, because this is getting different live opinions from the community from different places. I'm in Denver. You're out on the West Coast.
Yep. Southern California.
Yep.
And
there's
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I wanted to not forget to tell people to comment or send me a message if they want to be in any future videos, because I've got a couple of people lined up, but only a couple for sure. So I need to keep adding to the list. And it's going to be all sorts of different topics. I have ideas in mind, but it can be, I don't know, if you have an idea, then let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Send them in, please. I'm kind of the permanent guest at this point, because when we started talking about it, dude, I have tons of ideas to do for this, tons.
Yeah, or send them to ComicCorpsie.
Yeah. Send them to me at ComicCorpsie on YouTube. There's going to be certain weeks, I'll tell you now, that I'm not going to know anything about the subject or don't have any passion about the subject, and I will pass on that one.
Brutally honest.
Yeah, brutally honest, man. I'll tell you straight up. That's why a lot of people.
Still at the early enough phase, I think, in the collecting where I have so much passion. It's crazy.
I still have passion. There's certain things I don't have a passion for, though. And if I don't have a passion and an interest in it, then I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Should I press stop?
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you like and subscribe, especially to my brother Wise Stay Up. I am going to actually go back through and I'm going to pull this off your channel. I'm going to screen capture it and put it on mine.
Nice.
So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully get involved. Send in ideas. Thanks, guys. Bye.